Peter Demet, who's the guru of Transmedia, he understood very early what this means and which opportunities an independent film producer has. And he came up with what he calls the content cycle, which I think for producers is quite nice because it breaks down 3 steps or 3 different types of content that you as a transmedia producer usually create. There's first of all the content that people pay for, the cash content. So people pay for the cinema ticket, for a game, for a subscription fee, they want to buy merchandising. So this is the stuff they usually pay for. So this is at the very core kernel or the very core of your content you create. And then you have a layer that is inform content. So these are the things you offer free to your audience to make them aware, which are the trailers, the stills, the posters of your film. I mean, this is all still traditional because we all need to do that in order to spread the word. And then there is involve content, and this is the bit that's new. So now you offer content and offer your audience and your user an interactive way of communicating with you. And usually what you can see on networks is that people who like content share content. If they like a clip, they send the link to friends. So all of a sudden, you have a kind of viral marketing campaign that even doesn't cost you anything. People share it because they like it, they find it appealing. Use that. And in the process of involving your community, you create emotional involvement, which is the highest currency we have in this overcrowded world of media and blinking signs. An emotional connection is stronger than anything. You can create that. So what is actually happening here is that we are shifting from a product to a process. So it's not about one thing, it's about a process to develop several things, own several things, sell several things. And this is why transmedia producers speak of story architecture, and they build a story over several platforms. Let me quote Nesta, a fantastic agency looking at the development and support of the creative industries in the UK, who came up with a filmmaker's to-do list, which I find very straightforward. Let me read it to you. First of all, they say, see online audiences as participants, as authors, contributors, publishers, as well as just viewers. Use this to your advantage. Directors, writers, actors should write or blog or Twitter to audiences in the filmmaking process. Use free tools to track performance of campaigns by monitoring site visits and bookmarks. Be wary about giving away potential revenues in return for digitization costs. Look into getting it done yourself, which you probably can. Sell your content to as many platforms as possible. Keep deals non-exclusive, or for only short exclusive periods of time. Some of you might have seen Iron Sky, the sea movie that we all love. So it's so bad and it's so good. It's very, very bad, and it's so proud of being bad. And I'm a fan of the producer and the director. I'm not a fan of the film, but I'm certainly a fan of their corporate strategies. I'm a fan of their courageous sea movie style. It's super. Well, the plot is in 1945, the Nazis went to the dark side of the moon. In 2018, they are coming back. Yes. The distribution is way over 40 countries right now, which for the quality of the film is you don't get it. Now they are talking about a comic, Bad Moon Rising. They speak about a board game, an iPhone game. They had exhibitions in Helsinki. They always had engaged their audience in all the processes. There's a making of book, there's a real-time 3D person adventure game, an iPad game, They have done stuff for the PlayStation. You know, they know exactly what they do. This is the good part. It's not a crazy bunch of people. Tero, the producer, is a marketing person. So they carefully plan each and every step. Another wonderful interactive documentary, which is called Where's Gary? This is about a con man who bends the truth to make a living.
I have been tricked. It could have happened to you, but it happened to me. The perfect story. He says his name is Gary, that his wallet got robbed, and now he's in deep shit. No money, no papers, no credit card. He needs €100 to get back home to Norway. A bulletproof story. A real professional. I fell for it. But when I enter his name in Google, wow, that's amazing. Lots of people have fallen into the trap. Word after word the same story, all over Europe for many years. Maybe you will be next. Maybe you have crossed paths already. Who are you, Gary? Why put so much effort and intelligence in such a job? Why do you give always the same name? Are you playing a game? Okay then, I will be your opponent. I give myself 10 weeks to track him down, to reconstruct his story, to meet his victims, to study his techniques of con artist. Follow my investigation in real time, an interactive documentary for which I need you to participate.
In the very beginning, when the content was out, people were like, this is all fabricated, come on, this is fiction. And he kept insisting, no, really, truly, Gary existed. And, you know, I gave myself 10 days to find Gary and to unravel this whole thing. It's very, very interesting how he did the documentary, how he involved the audience, because there were so many people out there who met Gary as well and gave him these 40 And they were all like, who is this guy? So there was a community already out there, and he used that very cleverly. With this piece, he created for himself a name in the industry. He's now, as you heard, a known Transmedia producer. He has been part of The Spiral, so he is proceeding. His career took off after that. Unfortunately, we do not have time to look at one of the greatest independent grassroots campaigns that I know. Four-Eyed Monsters, you can check it out yourself. It's the distribution case study is online. It's fantastic. You visit Susan Bruce and Aaron Comley presenting Four-Eyed Monsters and how they turned a no-budget something into a money-making film and get theatrical release across the US. Grassroots campaign, they all did it step by step. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. If we look now at the games sector, games people were always looking, envious to the film sector, saying, we will never be able to come up with this emotion that you can in film. That's over. We have Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls is the first game that makes the connection between a filmic narrative, a highly emotional plot, which seems to be a roller coaster experience. The interesting part is not only do you get all the layers of a player's interaction, you can influence the endings of that film. They used real actors in a real blue screen environment, and then they just composed the whole scenes on the computers. You see Ellen Page, Willem Dafoe are the actors. And so you have a real gameplay with all the layers you need in a game, but the protagonists are actors. So the actors have been acting out scenes which lead to a total of 23 entirely different endings of the game. So we are really looking at an interactive storytelling, which Ellen Page called, the experience was a combination of interactive gameplay with a cinematic scope of narrative. It's for PlayStation 3. It was released, the trailer was released in Tribeca Film Festival. So you see how the worlds meet. And the soundtrack has been composed by Oscar-winning Hollywood legend Hans Zimmer. And the soundtrack is obviously also marketed separately. It's one of those, let's say, groundbreaking examples. If you tell stories, no, this is now standard. compare yourself, your narratives, your strategies with that. Because people will have 10 euro, 20 euro, dollars, whatever currency, and they have the choice. Do I spend it on this? Do I spend it on your film or on the 2,999, no, 2,299 other films? Creators of film, print, television, radio, theater, games, new media and painting are all moving into this new paradigm of creation, says Christy Dana. Indeed, the future will not be the domain of artists who adapt or extend from primary medium, but the domain of people who are transmedia artists from the beginning. Filmmakers don't create films anymore, they create worlds.